So my first like 2 months, at Tanya's house, were just like sleeping as much as possible, working whatever bullshit odd jobs I could get in January in Canaan, Connecticut, which is like a pretty dreary place to be. And then that's when, I think I did tell this one before, that's when the Colorado warrant showed up to Connecticut. Somebody told somebody that I was living at that sober house, and they surrounded the house and took me away.
And they take you back to Colorado?
No.
They take you to jail?
They took me to jail in New Haven.
Which is not a nice place to go to jail.
Not a great place.
No.
It's all fucking...
I'm sure there's a bunch of Yaleys who are trapped in there too.
Yeah, right.
And they're like doing equations for you to keep you sharp. No, not a lot of Yale students in New Haven.
No. And it was probably right down the road.
Do you call your folks?
I called my folks at some point. Yeah. They were like done with my bullshit. Even though like my mom kind of nailed it in retrospect. Like she wasn't going to like give me cash to go figure something out, but she would be supportive in trying to get creative with ways to get me help. And she would be direct with me about what she saw, but she would always answer the phone. You know, my dad, there just wasn't a lot of contact with my dad, but yeah, mom was like ahead of her time in the way she was like holding space for me. And I did call her at one point from jail after I met with the public defender. And she said this quote to me. She said, Dylan, after I'm like, listen, public defender thinks we're going to block the extradition. I'm going to get out. I'm going to get this apartment. I'm thinking I might start this type of business actually. And like, if I can do that for like 18 months, then I can leverage that into like a down payment for, you know. And she goes, Dylan, your actions speak so loudly, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Right.
And I remember like, for some reason, actually, that's like a little goosebumps for the sake that like, I remember that cut through all of it. And I was like, she's right. I'm fucked. I always fuck it up. I fuck it up every single time. And in fact, like the more nuanced and intricate my plan is, the fucking worse it goes. So I got down like in the middle of the pod. I'd heard Tib Walsh say, like get as low as you can and just submit. I still did not understand God or like what that had to do with anything. But I remember just laying down in the middle of the pod with like 50 guys around me, like starfish face down, and just being like, I can't do this. Not even like necessarily an ask for help, just like I'm fucked.
Acceptance. Deep radical
like,
acceptance.
I'm fucked.
So what happens?
And then from there.
And I think this is very, very valuable, by the way.
Okay.
I think it's very valuable. In a way, I'm interested because I hold you in high esteem. Like I love when you get to come here and you've traveled such a crazy story, 17 years, but it's not like people meet you and they don't know, you know, where you've come from. And I have some idea and I like to remember. And I know that our audience, some of them are face down right now in some bad place, and to see you or hear you, there's a lot of value. And I also, you know, egotistically think that it's good for you to remember this now and tell it like it's fresh. And then you're like, oh, I haven't mentioned that in a while.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
I think I appreciate that.
You're in the pod, you're against the ground, you're like, I'm fucked. And how do you not do all this time in Colorado?
Okay. Pure serendipity and like the people in my life. So a couple more weeks in New Haven, kind of like getting ready for a court date. I end up seeing this judge who does remand me to Colorado. We get back on the little shuttle bus thing to go back from the courthouse to the jail. We're like all shackled together, like normal. And the bailiff comes out and is like, Mr. Woods, like come, whatever, calls me back. There's another judge that had like seen my case and wanted to override that other judge's ruling, and basically noticed that a bunch of guys from my sober house were in the back row, and said that he thought the charges from Colorado were bullshit. They shouldn't spend that money. I shouldn't be punished in that way. And sent me, like, basically left me in the custody of that sober living.
Wow.
Which left Colorado, the only power they had now, if the extradition fails, the only power they had was to just like do virtual probation, which is what I wound up doing. So, I mean,
they leave you in the sober house then.
They leave me in the sober house. And that's for whatever reason, like that series of events had me really open-minded and had me feeling like really lucky. And I just like, sought out Tim Walsh and I was like, I want to go through the steps. He's like, ask me in like 6 months because we just started a big book step study and you can't do this one. It's full. And I just fucking kept that every day. I showed up to his office. Like, I'll sit on the floor. I'll do whatever it takes for you to let me in that thing. There's no way you're too full for me to fucking sit in the corner. And he wound up agreeing. And I brought a buddy with me, of course. And we did the steps. And that was fucking life changing.